You're looking at a handful of health. The blueberry. Low in calories and fat, high in fiber, antioxidants, vitamins, and other good chemicals, science is showing the blueberry is a virtual superfruit.
Think about a blueberry. It has macronutrients, micronutrients, which include vitamins, minerals, fiber, some natural sugar, plus it has these what we call phytonutrients, which are these same natural products we're talking about, which plants have evolved over time to put it into their cells to protect themselves, and humans eating these compounds can actually get health benefits.
It's no surprise then that blueberries are big business. The North Carolina Blueberry Council reports the state ranks 7th in production, with an industry worth about $71 million. About 3/4 of the state's blueberries are sold fresh, either at the farm or in retail stores. Ralph Carter owns Carter Farms in White Lake in Bladen County. He's growing blueberries on land his parents first harvested.
This tract of land right here from that woods line to that woods line, basically from that road there to about where that little clump of trees is right there, is what we started at, my parents started.
It is quite a journey from the bush to the store. The berries are cooled down to 60 degrees as quickly as possible once they leave the fields. That extends the berries' shelf life. Berries are then taken to a packing facility where they are run through a blower to remove dry blossoms, leaves, and sand. Then it's off to a color sorter, which pulls out the green and red berries, berries which haven't totally ripened yet. Next stop, a fruit sorter, which removes undesirable fruit, or berries that are starting to soften. Finally, the berries are packed in several sizes of containers, depending on the orders that need to be filled.
Then it goes into the shipping coolers, which is cooled down to 33 to 34 degrees. And from there, once it gets to that temperature, then she's loaded on a truck and headed to her new home.
While North Carolina's blueberry industry is already successful, farmers are turning to science in hopes of growing the blueberry business and keeping up with the demand for this superfruit.
That perfect berry to us would be, number one would be taste, is a very good taste. Number two is size, also firmness, looks or color, also abundance, and when I mean abundance is how much the bush will produce.
And indeed, scientists are working to fulfill the wish list of blueberry growers. The Blueberry Council has recently hired a researcher to advise growers, and scientists are surveying the field, isolating the perfect traits from each bush to create the super blueberry.
Not all blueberries are the same. I mean, we're fascinated by the anthocyanins, the compounds that give the color to the blueberry. That is probably the compound that's contributing most to the health, but there's so much difference between blueberries. Blueberries can have 6 times the difference in some of these compounds, and you can't tell from looking at the blueberry or walking into the grocery store which blueberries have higher levels and which have lower levels. What we want to do is find out what is the genetic factors in these different blueberries that's impacting this.
So, in a lab at North Carolina State University's Plants for Human Health Institute at the North Carolina Research Campus, Dr. Alan Brown and his team are sequencing the blueberry genome.
The levels of anthocyanins are the things that are correlated to the health benefits of blueberry. But if we can find out what are those genetic factors, if we can identify what they are, we can develop new varieties that have higher levels of these anthocyanins so that when you go to the grocery store, you're sure you're getting all the health benefits you think you're getting from the berry.
The hope is that by using molecular markers, scientists can pick and choose the best traits for a blueberry plant to have. So, the high-tech lab, with its instruments named after characters in the Andy Griffith Show, will then go old school and use traditional cross-breeding methods to hone the traits and create the best blueberry bush.
This is all by conventional plant breeding. Conventional techniques that have been used for thousands of years, making hybridizations between plants, and then selecting those plants that have have the best levels. Now we've got some incredible tools here that you see around us that make us more efficient at doing that.
There are 3 varieties of blueberries. Scientists hope by developing tools to look at the variations in blueberry plants and understand how they are related to each other, they can select the best materials to use in hybridization and crossbreeding, and thus create the super blueberry.
As has been said, let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. That's been the quotation for years. And what we're finding out is there's a lot of truth to that people who consume a lot of fruits and vegetables, they have less levels of chronic disease. But we still haven't quite figured out that link between the two of them. We're still looking at what are those compounds that are in the fruits and vegetables that actually contribute to that longevity or that protective effects of the fruits and vegetables. To me, that's fascinating.